the Saartjie Baartman Centre for Women and Children says it usually receives more victims during this period. Its director, Advocate Bernadine Bachar, joins us this morning via our video link for more on the story. Advocate, it's great to have you with us on the program. Thanks very much for coming on. It was just before Christmas, in fact, that the Saartjie Baartman Centre said it was expecting an increase in the number of people seeking protection in the coming weeks. Why during this particular period?
Good morning, Michelle, and good morning to your viewers. So, simply put, an increase in alcohol usage does see an increase in women trying to get into shelters. Obviously, alcohol abuse is a driver of gender-based violence, as is any substance abuse. But also, children that are of school-going age generally are obviously on holidays at the moment, and women find it easier to get into shelters when they don't have to take their children's school into consideration. So there are a number of factors that actually drive women to move into shelters during the holiday season.
So the Saartjie Baartman Centre says it will stay open during this period. Does that mean that other shelters do not?
Most shelters will be open during the holiday season. I'm not aware of any that do close during the Christmas period, because there is such an intake of clients looking for assistance during this time.
Yeah. I mean, what can you say to someone who might be listening to this interview who is looking for somewhere safe to go?
There's always help out there. There's always people that are willing to assist, and if a woman is looking to get into a centre, they can call the National Shelter Movement helpline on 0800 001 005, and we'll be able to assist them to be placed in a shelter. But the Saartjie Baartman Centre is open 24/7, 365 days a year, and women can literally just come to the gates or call us on 021 633 5287, and we will assist.
Yeah. It's a difficult decision for a woman to make, isn't it? Difficult because it's not always a safe decision for her to make, to leave, to find a safe place for herself and sometimes for her children as well.
That's true, Michelle. Most often the woman is mostly at risk when she's about to leave an abusive relationship. That's when she's at the most risk for her physical safety. So it is a difficult decision to make. It takes a lot of courage to come to the gates and say that I've exploited all the other forms of support, and I now need assistance from a shelter. And obviously it's very disruptive as well for the woman as well as for her children. So it's a big decision to make.
Yeah. The Saartjie Baartman Centre itself, how is it funded?
So that's a vexed question. Our funding mostly comes from the Department of Social Development, so they give us approximately 30% of what we need to keep the doors open. What that means in real terms is we have a deficit every month of 500,000 rand, which boils down to obviously 6 million rand a year. In this economic climate, it is extremely challenging trying to get that money in from other donors. This Commission for Gender Equality in 2019 did an investigation into shelters, and their conclusion was that shelters in South Africa financially are in a place of crisis, and we're just seeing it getting worse every year.
For people who are listening to this morning, Bernadine, and I mean, given the numbers that you've just outlined to us, that the funding you get from government makes up 30% of the money that you actually need. For someone who wants to help, how do they go about doing that?
Very easy, Michelle. They can get hold of us on our Facebook page and or on our website. There's platforms there where they can get our bank details and send us emails, and we'll be able to take them through that process.
And for people, Bernadine, who are wanting to make smaller donations in the form of, for example, toiletries, clothing, food?
Every little bit helps. You know, if we get food and clothing in, it kind of frees up monies that we could put towards things like electricity. So we're grateful for everything that we get in, and that same platform can be used, our Facebook page and or our website.
Just as a parting shot from you, Bernadine, and your experience in this sector, you know, what's your advice to families who are faced with gender-based violence? On, you know, perhaps I'm an outsider, perhaps one of my families is facing this kind of abuse. what are the steps that I should take? Because, staying silent is not the answer.
No. So I always say go at the pace of the survivor. She knows what kind of danger she's in. Quite often people rush out to help and inadvertently put the survivor at more risk than she was before. But the other thing is actively listening. Often a survivor just wants somebody to hear the story, but then also, most importantly, be aware of what the resources are that are out there, like shelters, like the shelter helpline. At the Saartjie Baartman Centre, if a woman doesn't want to come into the shelter, we will still do counseling with her. So just be aware of what is out there so that as soon as she decides that she needs help now, that you're able to assist her with it.
Advocate Bernadine Bachar, let me thank you for your time this morning, Director at the Saartjie Baartman Centre for Women and Children, as we reflect on this worrying trend that gender-based violence is on the rise at this time of year. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.